I'm in the 2023 Volvo C40 Recharge. Now Volvo has actually given this a massive update for 2024. I'll go over those details as well in this video. But is Volvo's electric coupe crossover as good as the Lexus RZ 450e or the Genesis GV60? Today we'll find out. Now underneath the hood of the Volvo C40 is actually the exact same setup we have in the XC40. Now within the electric car, doesn't have a frunk? And the answer is yes, it's quite sizable. You can fit a couple lunch boxes in here and also houses the level 2 charger. I have a level 2 charger already at home and it charges up to 11 kilowatts on a level 2 and 150 kilowatts DC fast charging. However, for the 2024 model, they've given it the 200 kilowatts DC fast charging. And the power on the 2024 model, at least for the all-wheel drive models, has remained the same. So 402 horsepower and a massive, I think it's around 486 pound-feet of torque. It is insane. Put it in off-road mode. I don't think one pedal driving is gonna do us any good. Oh gosh, still super fast. There's 60. Oh my gosh. 4.33. But for 2024, they've given this more range. So here's the 2023 at around 225 miles, to give or take a few. And then if you get the rear wheel drive model for 2024, it gives you up to close to 300 miles of range. And if you get the dual motor for 2024, you get about 30 more miles than we have here. So around 250 miles of range plus, which is great. And I don't believe it costs a whole lot more than this 2023 C40, and the looks, to my knowledge, are about identical. But the difference in range between the boxier version XC40 and this C40 is not very noticeable. I would be picking the design I like better. I actually like the XC40 design better. Let me know down below if you like this sloping roofline C40 better than the boxier brother. But let's go ahead and get on the inside. Get into the cargo area is a button right underneath the L, but it's kind of hard to find. It's right at the bottom. Now back here is pretty disappointing for its class. We have less than 15 cubic feet of cargo capacity in here, and that includes this underfloor storage, which has a jack, but I don't see a spare tire in here. Pulling that tray up, there's no spare tire. Now you do have a pass-through and you can pull down the seats, but compared to like the GV60 and the Lexus RZ 450e, it just doesn't have nearly the cargo space that you would be looking for in this segment. Now luckily all the door handles are smart access, so that's real handy if you have kids in the back or you want to open the door first for the kids. I can lock and unlock the door by each handle. So let's get into the back seat here. I love the fuzzy material and this blue fuzzy material. I know Volvo, you can also get in different colors, but I just love this upholstery, the scratchy upholstery. It's old school shag and wagon style. Now we don't have any sunshades back here, very simple window. Harman Kardon speakers at the top and the bottom, and then checking out the seats in the back, this nice suede material. Everything in here is supposed to be vegan, so there's no leather or wood in this vehicle, which sometimes is a bit of a disappointment, as I found wanting a little bit more luxury in something like the Lexus RZ, for example. But the soft seats are amazing on the back. It's a little bit harder back here, and that's great. Actually, I like this combination of hard touch and soft touch, because this is where the kids are going to be running their shoes if you have little kids in the back and their car seats. We do have a mat pocket on each side. It is of the flimsy net variety, but it's better to have two than one. And then we have vents back here for your passengers. You have USB, two USBs back here, as well as heated outboard seats here. Now, even with the ridiculously sloping roofline, I have headroom back here at 6'1". This is quite impressive from Volvo. And this amazing panoramic sunroof here that is standard across all grades. The headliner in here is also very Volvo-esque. I don't know of anyone who else has the same type of headliner. I just really appreciate the material on it. It kind of reminds me of a denim. That's probably the best way for me to communicate to you. We do have LED one-touch map lights back here, which is great, and also little hanger hooks for your clothes. Folding this down, we have cup holders. This is very small yet sturdy feeling armrest. And I do appreciate the child latches in here, as well as it was easy to get my kids in and out of this back seat. And those seats are high quality. They just don't flop out. It's very, they stay in place. They just fold up. So I do appreciate the quality of even something like the small child latch seats. I love the continuation of the blue carpet, as well as the blue material on the inside of the armrest area, as well as the blue mats look awesome in here. Getting out is a bit of an issue. You have this huge tire or wheel arch here that you kind of have to maneuver your body to get around. And these door slams sound amazing, very high quality. The fit and finish here is fantastic. All right, getting into the inside of the Volvo C40. Like I said, the blue is never gonna stop impressing me here. And of course we have a swath of it. Is that the right word? A bathing of it here on the inside of the door. And we have this unique plastic pattern that, you know, the materials are not that great, but I do like the attention to detail. Kind of looks like a topography map looking from the sky down to like the Grand Canyon below. So not necessarily luxury, but I do like the attention to detail. There's that Harman Kardon speaker here. Sounds great, as well as the speaker grill feels really high quality. Now we do have glossy black around the vents, which I wish was a little bit more doled out because they can blind you at times. Now again, the same attention to the seats in the back we do have here in the front, except these are a little bit more bolstered, of course, to hold you in place. It feels incredible. We have a manual thigh extension piece here, which seems to be a chrome collector. And we also have this secret pocket down here, which is very, very shallow. So I don't know exactly what, maybe chapstick. Honestly, it's the only thing, but just love that attention to detail with this blue carpet. Now, keep in mind, this seems to be a bit different material than this down here. All right, let's get in here, which the car automatically starts. And that's it. There's no dance. There's nothing special going on. Starts off in park, obviously, and then the AC starts cranking, which I appreciate because I was frying in that back seat with the car being off. It's very classic Volvo in here, and they minimalize everything. And typically in a car that drives me crazy, unless the execution and ergonomics are quite good in here. And I have a large volume knob, which is great. I have this home button here, kind of like the old iPhones that had a physical button, and the rest is touchscreen. Even though it's Google built in, you still have the option of Apple CarPlay here. And then the amazing addition of Google Maps here is awesome. And I love the option, if you need to charge, it'll show you the closest charging networks in your local area, which is amazing. These vertical vents do a really good job at cooling you down, and they have a really nice resistance to them, and you can just click them on and off, which is great. This button again takes you home, and this pulls up all of your different apps. So let's pull up Range Assistant. That seems pretty important here in a fully electric vehicle. 210 miles of range, we're at 98%. So I can click Range Optimizer, and I can click Turn On, and it'll just dial back the climate control, which I don't want here in South Florida. I will fry. I do have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, 3 different levels. Unfortunately, these seats are not ventilated, which is unfortunate for this top grade. To get into your climate control, you just press here, pulls it up, very snappy, and it's easy to get around and play with this. I just keep it on auto, and then I can adjust my temperature from there, and it does a really good job keeping the cabin cool. The big Harman Kardon center speaker up here as well, and check out this dash, guys. Like, it is soft touch, but it does feel kind of cheap up here with no stitching going on and this like cheap plastic feeling grill speaker when I have these high quality metallic ones over here. We have that textured topography map here in the center. It looks cool, but it is cheap feeling. And let's check out the glove box. Nice size glove box as well. I feel like in some Volvos, this is the button over here to drop the glove box, but it's just a manual release. And here's one of the most unfortunate things about the Volvo C40 Recharge is that rear window and the visibility is completely unusable unless you're maybe just around parking lots, because I can only see maybe about 30 feet behind me. And that's like across the street. I can't even see the door to my neighbor's house, and therefore you're not going to be able to see the traffic behind you unless you're looking at your side mirrors. And there is no digital rear view mirror option for me to look properly out the back. So I'm really only looking down, and I was thinking, you know, maybe it's because I'm tall, but I leaned the seat all the way back like gangster style, and I still couldn't see out of the back window. That is a big fail in my opinion. Down here we have a 12 volt for charging, 2 more USBs. I think this is the one for data, and this is a high charge one, and then you have a nice charging mat down here, and this is your secret compartment for maybe a stick of gum. Well, it's gonna yell at me because I don't have my seat buckle on. Default, it just shows me the reverse camera, which is unfortunate. I like to have my top-down camera as well as my reverse camera. Now you can see there are parking sensors around the vehicle, which is great. But there is a 360 camera option, again, just not by default. and it doesn't show me the backup camera at the same time. So it's either or in this vehicle. I wish you could do both at the same time, but the 3D mapping on the 360 camera is fantastic. The steering wheel is very basic. It does feel nice and meaty in my hands. It's very similar to any other Volvo. Now, I do like having the radar cruise control over here. Unfortunately, radar cruise control is only on this ultimate grade, and lane keep and lane tracing is only on this ultimate grade, which is unfortunate for such an expensive Volvo. You would think Volvo would want to include the most safety features on the lower grades because they are a safety-minded brand, but that's not the case here on the C40 Recharge. Despite that, they do have some of the best radar cruise control out there, and it picks up cars really far in front of you. So if they pull out in front of you, the car does an amazing job slowing itself down. This button here pulls up your metrics for efficiency, trip computer, etc. I prefer not to have the map up, but you can toggle it on with this switch here. Very basic MID. And then I love always having the efficiency counter down here as well, and then your large digital speedometer on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, I don't have a head-up display, which is crazy because this segment all come with head-up displays. And the visors are all plastic as well, but at least we have a nice little LED light in there to show our faces while we're doing our makeup in our cars. And we have an oh crap bar even on the driver's side as well as the passenger side. It is a small attention to detail that like it has a soft close, it just doesn't slap into the ceiling. It's things like that that Volvo knows how to make luxury vehicles. And here's where you can keep your deck of cards and whatnot, but it is not illuminated, and it is kind of strange because it is spring loaded and you can get your hand trapped in here. It kind of pinches down. And here luckily we have a little light over there to help you see at night. A nice rubber bottom to this to keep your things in place so they're not rattling around while you're doing 4.5 seconds 0 to 60s. I do love how Volvo gives you a lot of control over how this vehicle drives. So going to the driving dynamics here, you can turn off all the safety features really easy. You even have an off-road mode, which I know it's all-wheel drive. I don't know who would be taking their C40 and XC40 Recharges off-road, but there's the steering assist, the pilot assist that is unique to this ultimate grade. Unfortunately, unlike other Volvo models, there's no way to defeat the creep mode if you don't want to drive in one pedal driving. So that means the vehicle will just pull forward at a stop, and I don't see any button in here for like auto brake hold. It's very easy to set the timer and schedule for charging. I appreciate that in this vehicle. You also have the ability to tamper back the charge completion so you can prolong the longevity of the battery. Very easy to control the sound in here as well. Now, one of the coolest Volvo party tricks is the headrest fold. So if I press that button, they fold down, but there's no way to raise the headrest unless I either go in the back seat or do a super reach like this and fold it back up. I love how simple and easy it is to customize your displays as well as the lights on the vehicle. And overall, I do appreciate the customization here. And I couldn't be more wrong about this interior trim. While in the day it looks a little pedestrian, yet unique, inside at night, it turns into a gorgeous experience. Who would have thought? That's why I find it so important to drive these vehicles during the day and the night, because there are surprises on both ends of the circadian rhythm, essentially. Getting in the car, it's always a trip. You don't do anything. The AC starts pumping for you. The car essentially turns on by itself when it recognizes the key is inside the car. Of course, like any other electric vehicle, taking off is in utter silence. It is a thing of beauty, and this Volvo overall is a very quiet vehicle, unless you're cranking the Harman Kardon sound system, of course. Like, I can barely hear these trucks and cars pass by in front of me. It's great. The steering in here is fairly light, even with the stiffer steering setting, but that's traditional Volvo. At least they give you the option to change the steering feel. The brakes are very predictable, very meaty, just like any other Volvo brake pedal, but you won't be running through the brake pads nearly as often on a Volvo Recharge. Now, the C40 doesn't have any counterparts other than the XC40. The C40 is only battery electric, and I can't believe they actually gave it rear-wheel drive for 2024 as the base model, which is respectable. I think it has somewhere around 240 horsepower in rear-wheel drive only form, which is going to be enough for most people. And this is like really a city car to begin with. But honestly, you put that foot down, it is so ridiculous how much power and torque this gives you. You have the front end lifting up. I don't remember happening in, let's say, competitor to this, which is like the Lexus RZ or even the GV70 battery electric vehicle. I feel like those don't have as much pitch and dive. This, the powertrain just seems to overwhelm the short wheelbase. Even though I like the one pedal driving here, I still actually prefer to drive this in two pedal mode. Unless it's stop and go traffic, then I can benefit from, you know, that less of moving my foot around. Typical Florida, I don't have like any turns here, but you're just gonna accelerate through the turn. It actually felt pretty good. And like the power delivery here does feel very even, like let's say the Genesis GV60 and GV70s. I just drove the Lexus RZ 450e recently, and that vehicle feels very front wheel drive based, and 2/3 of its power is being driven through the front wheels. Here, I get a much more safe feeling. I never feel like it's fighting for traction, even when I go full ham. Ergonomics are pretty good in here. I wish the armrests were a tad bit softer overall. And like I mentioned, I do wish the materials in here were better. I have glossy black down by the shifter. I don't have that crystal shifter that I love so much in other Volvo products. And even though the illumination of this plastic is amazing at night, during the daytime, it just looks like etched plastic. And this vehicle is an absolute pleasure to drive in town, and really that's what this vehicle is designed for. I wouldn't want to be taking long trips, and even with the newer models with 200 kilowatts DC fast charging, it still lags far behind, you know, the 800 volt system that we see from the Koreans. So it's definitely not a road trip vehicle, even in the new rear wheel drive model with 300 miles of range. I just want to get into the throttle. Gosh, it is so fast and so quiet. It doesn't pump in any noise whatsoever, unlike a lot of its competitors. It is just brutally quick and dead silent at the same time. All right, so is the 2023 Volvo C40 and XC40 equivalent worth it? The answer is if you can get a discount. Because the 2024 model is better, so don't pay full sticker price for the outgoing 2023 model if they're sitting around at the lots. Either wait for a new one, or on this 2023, in my area, I'm seeing them like $10,000 discounted for even for the ultimate trim. So if you can get this around $50,000, that's great. The thing is, I can't recommend this vehicle in anything other than the ultimate trim because Volvo, like I said earlier, doesn't give us radar cruise control. And in fact, they don't even give us a head-up display. So the power and the driving of this vehicle can only take me so far because I am lacking other features than this vehicle that come at lower price points in its competitors. So at sticker price, it's hard to recommend, even against its rivals from Genesis and Lexus. I compare those because those are the ones I've driven recently on the channel. And add to the fact that I can't see out of the rear window here in the C40, and it has very limited cargo. I just would be getting the XC40 every time over this, and I would probably be getting its competitors over this, even though I love the software on here, I love how this vehicle drives, I love the power on it, but I am lacking those features and just everyday safety with the rear window here and no rear wiper on it either. So anyways, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching my review of the C40. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button, subscribe, because Volvo has a new small vehicle coming out. I believe it's called the EX30. And they also have the EX90 coming out like about a year from now, sometime in early 2024. That vehicle has been delayed. So stay tuned for all that good Volvo-ness coming to you guys. I really enjoyed this vehicle, like I said, over and over, but it's just really expensive for such a compromised package. So anyways, thank you guys. I'll check you in the next one. Have a great day and peace.